Do you also hate goal setting? If so, stay tuned because this episode is for you. Welcome to Moving Forward, where coaching meets real life, the podcast of the International Coaching and Counseling Institute. I am Noa Brume, the founder of the Institute and your host on this podcast. If you're new here, then welcome. Keep on listening, and if you like what you'll hear, then stay till the end when I will explain to you exactly how to listen to more episodes and to follow us. And if you are an old follower, then welcome back. And you have probably noticed that it has been a while since I recorded the last episode, which was in October 2023. It was episode 8 when I told the story of my cancer. Ever since then, I wanted to record more episodes, but I didn't. I concentrated more on my recovery. But now, February 2024, quite a few months after, I am here and finally working on more episodes, and I hope you will like them. And today we are talking about something that even if I hear about it, my body cringe. I really don't like talking about it. I don't like doing it, but something has changed in me over the last year, over the last few months. And the biggest realization, the biggest kind of bell ringing of, wow, why have you not paid attention to that before? And I am talking about goal setting. Anyone who knows me, my students, people I talk to, sometimes in business meetings, know my dislike of goal setting. Not because I don't think it's important, not at all. I think it's very important, but something is in me is resisting it. And I can tell you, I was trying to think, when was the first time that I met that concept of goal setting? And I think I'm not wrong to say that it was when I was 16. And I was chosen to be a scout leader. And I worked together with another, well, now she's a lady, but at the time she was 17. I'm 16, she's 17. We are part of a big group of scout leaders. And what we had to do is sit in staff meetings and to discuss what are we going to do, what is the plan for the year, etc. For those little children. I think are like the scouts, the young children were maybe around 10 years old. And there was the concept of goal setting. What are your goals? What are your goals for the next quarter? What are the goals that we are setting for ourselves for the year? And especially, what are the goals for each activity that we are doing? So each 2 or 3 hours that we were spending together with them on the weekend. And I just didn't get it. I thought, why can the goal not be fun? Fun! We're here to have fun. It's the scouts after all. No. I was told that's not good enough. I was even criticized about it. Just the thought of it for our leader was like, do you not understand how goals are important? We need to achieve things. These children need to come to an activity not knowing something, leaving the activity knowing something. And I'm like, oh my God. And I remember that I really resisted that. And of course, later on in life, you meet that again and again. When I was a teacher, you do have to write goals for your teaching, but every lesson has to have learning objectives, and you need to write it in a specific way. What will the students know at the end of this lesson? How will you assess that they have achieved that? Oh my God, one of the things that I hated, and I do until today. And then I opened my business, and everybody around, what you hear all the time is set goals. And I really resisted it. So not that long after I opened the business, I saw that there is a workshop not far from where I live by a nice lady, also a coach, that I appreciated very much at the time. And the workshop was about setting your goals to success. And I thought, I've got nothing to lose. Let's go. Registered for the workshop, went there. And I remember it was in a nice hotel. We were all sitting and she's starting to talk. And she says, forget about goal setting. What, because she asked, what do you think about it? She saw that, I think she predicted it, that a lot of us don't like goal setting. Otherwise, we would not have been in a workshop. And she kind of said, let's forget that. What works for you? And I put my hand up and I said, I have achieved a lot of things in my life. I really have. Like, if it was in studying, if it was different roles that I wanted to have, if it was to teach in Oxford University, like things that I saw myself being able to do, and then I did them. And then she said, you know what these are? These are visions. You had visions. You visualized yourself in a position or doing something, and you achieved it. And it really stuck. It really stuck in my mind. And she gave us a nice exercise how to use that visualization and how to see yourself in the future already. I really remember it really vividly. And this is an exercise that I do something similar to it, inspired by it with my students. It stuck so much. It's one of the first things that we are doing in the International Coaching Diploma course to first of all understand how do we see ourselves in the future. Because over the years, I've realized that this is what I'm doing. I'm visualizing something, I see myself achieving it, and then I'm asking myself, all right, then what do you need to do in order to achieve it? Now, this is just one way of setting goals. I must admit, a lot of times it worked, in other times less, but something happened last year which I want to share with you. And actually, it's the bell that I was telling you about, the ding dong, hello, pay attention, happened last week. Last week, it was towards the end of January 2024. And, that's the time when you summarize, at least in the Netherlands, you summarize your financial business year. And I sent everything to my administrator to have a look at and file everything. And I looked at the numbers again, not just then, but I looked at the numbers. And I looked at the activities that I've done. And I thought, wait a minute, I really achieved more than I expected. Like luckily in 2023, the income I generated through the business nearly doubled. And certainly was higher than what I expected. And then I thought, how comes? This is the year that for half a year, since July, I had cancer. I had breast cancer. You can hear about it in episode 8. And yet, I have achieved more than I expected. And this is not a secret, that from October 7th, 2023, as an Israeli, my country is at war. Let's not get into politics, but this is a fact. My parents, my family, my brother, sister, and all my friends are in a war zone. And this has really, really affected me and my mood, etc. And then I thought to myself, how did it still happen? How did it happen that I looked at everything I wanted to achieve in 2023 and more than I expected happened? And one of the things that I know for fact that has happened is that in November 22, so we're talking about a year and a few months ago, I joined a program for advanced business owners. This is how the program is called, okay? It's like a mentoring program of 6 months for advanced business owners. The mentor who's running it is a woman I really appreciate. And at the time, she created a new program. And she said, you're with me for 6 months. And let's go and see what's going to happen. Now, one of the first things she has done, not to your surprise, I believe, is she asked us to set goals for 2023. Remember, it was November, so we had like about 6 weeks before the new business year, and she asked us to look at our goals. But you can imagine my, the minute I saw the name of the first meeting, the first lesson that she gave, because it's kind of, you meet weekly, she's giving you 3 hours lessons, and then you need to go and do the work. The first one was about goal setting, and my heart sunk, but I trusted her, and I wasn't wrong, because this amazing woman, the first thing that she did when she talked about goals, it was actually not about goals at all. It was about the question of who do you want to be? I'll repeat. Who do you want to be? And this question was completely in the zone that I like. It's in the being. It's in the visualizing myself in the future. And the first exercise she gave us was to write a list, a detailed list, and I really encourage you to do that too, of asking yourself and answering to yourself, what kind of person do you want to be? What kind of woman do I want to be? That was the question that I had to answer. And then she gave us her examples, and I followed them, and then things unfolded. And every sentence that I wrote made me more and more happy. For example, I remember writing there that I would like to be a woman who is able to give her children the best education possible. So at any given time, my oldest is about to go to uni, etc. I would like to be able to give them the best education possible for them at every given moment. Another thing that I really vividly remember thinking, writing it down, that I would like to be a woman who is going away for a few days, at least once a year, with my partner. So leaving the kids and just the two of us. Another thing is that I said I want to be a woman that in her house there is mostly healthy food and she cooks healthily, and this is my being. I'm a person who loves cooking healthy food, and that I'm not saving on ingredients. I'm really buying, if not the best, then almost the best that is possible for myself and for my family. And like that, I unfolded more and more and more things that I believe that I would like to be. And I wrote at least an A4 page. And only then she asked the question of how are you going to achieve it? How are you going to be that person? Remember, I took a business, it's for managing your business. But the first thing she asked is, what kind of person are you? And how are you going to achieve it? So, for example, I had to write down that I'm going to book that long weekend with my partner or a vacation. And then I had to write that where I'm shopping, what am I shopping for, etc., etc. And like that, all of a sudden, it was very clear what I need to do. And although a lot of the things I've already done, and a lot of the things that were there are things that I already am, still writing it down was giving me such clarity, and that was so amazing to unfold and to see. That was the first thing we have done. And only then she moved with us to talk and to think about our business. Only then she asked us, okay, what are you going to do in 2023 in your business that will allow you to be the woman you are telling me you want to be? What actions, what planning you're going to do in your business that will go hand in hand with the person that you want to be? Because of course, in that list, there was also I wrote, I would like to be appreciated for the gifts that I can give to the world. I would like to be able to show more people their ability to help others. I remember there was a long, long, long list of what kind of person I want to be, what kind of mother I want to be, what kind of partner I want to be, what kind of daughter I want to be, what kind of friend do I want to be. And when it came to the business, I wanted to be a person who is able to give the courses and to show people as much as possible what their gifts are and how they are able to help other people. Out of excitement, out of love for people, out of like that feeling of people who love helping other people, that you're fulfilled by it. And I wrote that down too. And only then I started to write down the plan. She asked us to do a yearly plan of exactly what we're going to do in order to achieve that being, that vision that we want for ourselves. And I wrote that I would like to give the Foundation for Coaching course 3 times a year. In January, online, in May and in October, face-to-face in The Hague. I wrote that I would like to run one phase 2, the professional coach practitioner, starting in April, running for a whole year. This was the plans for 2023. And then I wrote, without knowing how it's going to happen, that I would like to go back to working in organizations. I used to give a lot of workshops, a lot of lectures. I was a keynote speaker in a lot of conferences. And somehow during Corona, it died down. And I had this wish to go back and to do it. So I wrote it down, but without any specific plan, because I didn't know how it's going to happen. So I left it like that. And slowly, she unfolded more and more of how we're going to achieve those goals. She asked us to really write down the steps that we need to do and to plank it on a calendar. Yes, she created a calendar for us on Excel, and we had to plank on the calendar and write down exactly what activities are we doing in each month in order to achieve our goals. What I added to that was, how does it make me feel? I added something that I remembered actually from the workshop from a few years ago, of how does it make me feel when I reach that goal. I know that when I give that exercise to my students, we are connecting the goal, the actions, and the feelings. Then it happens. Because feelings are driving actions, but also if we are feeling good about what we have achieved, then we want more of it. It excites us. We really are happy, and our whole body is geared towards achieving that goal. And yes, there are going to be a lot of obstacles on the way, but it almost doesn't matter. When you see yourself and you see yourself how happy you are when you have achieved your goal, then you're doing it, and you will find almost anything that you'll have solution for almost any problem, because you know that this goal excites you, that this goal is yours. And this is how I approached it. For every goal that was on that calendar or on that list, I thought to myself, I closed my eyes and I thought, how am I going to be? How am I going to be when I'm going to sit in front of 12 people, 15 people in class, and I'm going to teach them, and I see how they are progressing. Well, how does it make me feel? And when I know that it makes me feel great, I'm almost unstoppable. To that, another thing happened. In January 2023, I was very lucky to be invited to another workshop. We had it as part of the business group that I belong to. We invited a woman that gave us a workshop on visual boards. It's a very known technique of, again, visualizing yourself, visualizing your future. And that visual board, what we had to do is she gave us a white canvas, and on it we had to to glue down photos from magazines that represent what we want for ourselves. And again, you could think about it for the next year or your future. And I do remember, I have this board and I'm looking at it. Well, you're supposed to look at it every day. I don't, but I look at it from time to time. But there are a few things in there. Like there is a picture that represents the healthy eating I just mentioned to you. There's a picture there that is representing how that I want my business to be more automated, lots of things like that. And one of the things is a picture. One of the photos is a picture of I think a couple of people, but let's say somebody on a stage, and they are sitting and clearly lecturing, but they're giving the audience are sitting on like very, very comfy chairs, almost like bean bags and chairs like beach chairs, those foldable chairs, and they are in an office space, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of wow. It's kind of like not like too official. It looks fun. And I remember when I found it in one of the magazines, I thought, that's what I want. I want to go to organizations, but I don't want to be too official about it, too kind of strict about it. I want to bring myself, the fun, the person who is really great and entertaining almost, to listen to one of her lectures or one of her workshops. And every activity that I ever do, it's very playful. There are games, activities. Even when I give a lecture, it's almost never 45 minutes or an hour of me just talking. Actually, I think in the podcast, I talk more than ever in one straight go, because I always like to involve the audience, etc. And I really saw myself like that. And guess what? That was on the 19th of January. I know the date. And just a few weeks after, I was called by somebody I know very well, and she asked me two things. She said, first of all, I would like you to train a new group of people in our company that they are going to be safety coaches. They had a new function of safety coaches, and she wanted me to run the course. But she said, before that, in March, we're going to have a conference, and you're going to have between 80 and 100 people that I would like you to give them a lecture/workshop. She's seen me in a lot of training before. And that's what happened. In March, I had the opportunity to give an amazing, amazing workshop. It was amazing not just because of what I did, but it was because of the results that we had there and the engagement that we had there of explaining to those people in the audience what is coaching and how we can use coaching in our leadership. So you see, all of a sudden, I was in a hotel in the middle of The Hague. We had a lovely setting. It wasn't just we didn't just sit in rows. And we were like, I sent them to rooms, and we called them breakout rooms, and it was so much fun. And I all of a sudden said to myself, hello, just a month or 6 weeks ago, I was just dreaming it. I was putting it as a picture on a visual board, and it is happening. I'm jumping a few months later, July 2023, middle of July, I'm hearing that I have breast cancer. And I knew that in front of me is a long process of getting rid of it and of recovering and radiotherapy and all that kind of thing. I didn't know how exactly this is going to happen, but I remember vividly how I said to myself, it was July, that in October, I'm opening another Foundation for Coaching course. Why? Because that was the plan. That was the visualization I had for myself, and I'm not giving up on it. And this is what I did. I just almost used it as my anchor, my sign that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm recovering. Yes, I had an operation in September. Yes, I had to start radiotherapy about 10 or 12 days before I started the course, but it didn't stop me. I just thought, this is what I want. This is what I'm having fun through. It's gonna happen. And this is how I went about the world. I said, I don't mind how many students I have there. It can be a small group. It's going to be a group of great people who really will understand me and will understand if I'll be a bit more tired or anything. And this is how it happened. I had a very small group there. I had 7. But every single one of these students was amazing, to the point that at the end of the first training day, one of them, an amazing young lady, she said to me, I admire you. I don't know how you have the energy, to be like that. And that gave me even more energy, that another person is seeing what I'm really trying to do here. And I did it for myself. I did it for myself because this was how I am. This was the woman that I am, the woman who doesn't give up, the woman who is using what she likes doing in her life in order to survive in a way, but to achieve her goal. Yeah, these are 2 steps, 2 levels, but first of all, it helped me survive because I had those goals. I knew what I want to achieve. I visualized them. I visualized them through the exercise that my mentor gave me. I visualized them through the exercise of the vision board. I saw myself as achieving it. And this is my message. Yes, we need to set goals. I learned it. I don't know if to say through the hard way, but it took me a long time to realize that this, if I want to achieve something, I have to set those goals, because this was always the case. Only in the last year, it was very clear to me how detailed it needs to be. That you see yourself achieving something and then you go back and you start almost dissecting and asking yourself, what is it that you need to do? And you start to make a list. And the list has to have dates. I have realized that I've done it before. Let's say when I opened the International Coaching Counseling Institute, there was a vision, and then I had to find a name, to find a website, to register the company, and then to create the website and the materials on the website, and to create the programs and all that. I had to really give it a timeline. I couldn't put the programs on the website, even though I had the domain, and I started to have the skeleton of the website. I couldn't write anything in it until I created the programs, correct? You can't. So only when I had the programs and I was very clear of what is going to happen, then I could write it on the website. In other words, I made a plan, and I can tell you it took 9 months. 9 months of really hard work until I opened it, until it was ready to announce, here's the website, we have new courses, here is where you can register, here is where we're going to meet each other, etc., etc. So I always worked like that. But somehow, because I had that written plan, because I committed to myself, I believe that this is the only way that you can actually use it in crisis, like the 2 huge crises that I have been through in 2023, and yet to have great success, to achieve it. Now, I want to stop for a second and say that it's not that everything that I set for myself I have achieved. Not at all. In fact, one of the goals was to open a podcast. I remember saying to myself, setting the goal that at the end of March, I will open a podcast. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was 21st of March maybe that I did. I think it was like the first day of spring or something. Maybe I need to listen myself to the first episode again. But I think it was in March. Again, it was a vision. It was one of the part of the plan. But I thought that I will have at least 12 episodes there. Actually, I almost said to myself, record one every 2 weeks and you will have over 20 episodes there. The reality was that there were 8. I stopped in October because I couldn't bring myself to do it more. So much less episodes. But hello, I need to celebrate what I have achieved. I've opened a podcast. This is the 9th episode I'm recording now. Okay, it's a year later, but so what? In other words, even if not all your goals will be achieved, that's okay. That really is okay. And I'm going to take you back to my mentor, because when she said in November 23 that she is reopening this program, I jumped in. Because for me, her support and the way she's thinking and asking me to do exactly the same. The program did not change. It's the same program as last year. We're going week after week. The only thing that changes is who are the business owners who are there. Some of them repeat it like me and some of them are new. But to go over it again and do it again, for me, was an amazing, amazing thing. So she said something very interesting. She said, for those of you who did the program last year, or anyone else who have written goals for themselves for 2023, have a look at them, assess them. What do you see? What do you learn? And she said something very interesting. And again, this is a woman who has got her business for many years. She is generating an income of over $1 million. And then she said something that will stick in my head, and I want to share that with you. She said, in business or in life, I believe, even if we achieve 70% of what we wanted, 50% of what we wanted, that's great. And that's something that I want you to take from this episode. That we have to aim high. We have to tell ourselves who we want to be, how we want to be, to look at what are the actions that we need to do, to give it a time frame, and then to be modest enough and good enough to ourselves and say, even if I've not achieved everything, I achieved so much. I am a living proof. I had a rough year, and yet, because I stuck to my goals, and no, I didn't achieve all of them. I also achieved around 70% of them. But the numbers are talking, the actions are talking. Yes, I would have loved to have more students, because remember, 7 is a big group. Yes, I would have loved to achieve more, to get to more companies, etc. I haven't. Not yet. But I will. I will, because I have that vision and I'm walking the walk. I'm not giving up. And the results were super surprising. And I can tell you, hand on heart, that the business saved my sanity. I could really shut down when I had the cancer. You know, so many people said to me when I had the cancer that if I was not self-employed, but I was employed, I would have got 3 to 6 months free. Like, you know, you're on a sick leave. I couldn't afford 1 day of sick leave, but it didn't matter, because what I wanted to achieve in the business went hand in hand with what I wanted to achieve in life. That was me and the story of how I really resented setting goals and how I shifted my thinking. And then only lately that I started to realize how important are the numbers, how important it is to put absolutely everything in a plan and then relax and say to yourself, this is just a plan. It's the crouches. It's what's helping me. But this is my vision. This is how I would like to see myself. And then start living your life according to your vision and according to your goals. So, if you like this episode, if you think that it was helpful, if you want to hear more, what you have to do is go to our website, www.The-ICCI.com, to click on podcast, and there you will see all the episodes. From there, you can transfer to the other applications of podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. You can subscribe to our channels, and like that, you will be able to hear us more and more. Because one of the things that I said to the last group that just started in January, I said to them that my goal is that by the end of their course, which is the end of March, I will have at least 3 more episodes on the podcast. So follow us and let's see if I'm going to be able to do that. I am sure I am, because I really enjoy talking to you now. I will say goodbye, and I hope that you will share this podcast and this episode with anyone that you think can benefit from it. Goodbye.